So before we go, we're going to go position by position as kind of previewed at the top. But I do always love starting this way with you. Who is your single favorite guy, your favorite single sleeper at any position that you cannot leave your draft without, Pat?
Oh man, this is probably my most drafted guy. It's Jahan Dotson
I
of
love it.
Washington. Yeah, like I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm up here in the Midwest, so watch a lot of Big Ten football every fall, and I just kind of fell in love with Dotson. Part of it being because he did a number on my Wisconsin Badgers last year. But man, this guy is like he has got big time speed and he plays to it. Terrific
Mhm.
hands. And he's got that thing with like Tyreek Hill, where he is like surprisingly feisty and balls in the air for a smaller receiver. Like
Yeah.
this dude is tough at the catch point. Like he is just a competitor, and I was so happy when he went mid first round, and it just kind of validated everything I thought. Like they were talking
Mhm.
about him as a guy who maybe wasn't going to be in the first round, but no, he went well inside that round one, round two cut line. So plus he has been in preseason further validating it. He's been running exclusively with the ones, and
Mhm.
running a lot of routes. He's going to be on the field with Terry McLaurin in two wide receiver sets. Basically, isn't going to come off the field, and I really like this dude. I think he's going to have not much of a transition from college to the NFL. I think he's NFL ready. I'm pretty excited about him, and he's going pretty cheap. He is not someone people are really excited about, and I think they should be.
100%. He's a guy that is definitely on my list too. A guy I've been landing a ton of throughout this entire offseason. Because like you, I just when watching him play in college, one of those guys is just a football player. Like it goes up and gets everything. He might not have the flashiest athletic profile or any of that stuff, but man, he is just so much steak to the sizzle, so much production. Shouldering a 33% college target share. 95th percentile in that sense. And he's used to bad quarterback play. So I know the whole argument, oh, well, he's playing with Wentz. He can't be that good, right? But I think even Rivera mentioned, like, one of the reasons we love this guy is how good he was, regardless of who was throwing him the rock, kind of alluding to the fact that he's going to get it done with nobody. It doesn't really matter who it is. This kid can get it done. 100% there with you. I absolutely love the kid. Playing all the preseason snaps so far, too, with the starters, with the ones. They're not playing any games. They're locking this guy in as a starter, and he's absolutely talented enough. I mean, he's a reason. I don't know if I'm psycho to fade. I'm not necessarily fading Terry McLaurin, but at their price tags, I have landed way more Jahan Dotson because I don't think the stats are going to be all that difference between the two. Yeah, I prefer McLaurin in a vacuum, of course, but when he's going round 4 and Dotson's going like round 13, I'm hitting Dotson every single time, whereas Terry's just sprinkling in here or there. Am I nuts? How do you view that?
No, I know what you mean, and I do like Terry McLaurin. I think he's a really good player, but he's a guy I don't really get more than my share of in drafts. I've got him in a few drafts, but not too many. And if I miss on him, like I definitely want Dotson later on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Another receiver going a little later than Dotson, but the sleeper. So my number one, the guy I can't leave without, is also a receiver, and it's Isaiah McKenzie. He's going right now in Fantasy Pros ADP right around 200, so maybe even undrafted in a lot of leagues. I know an underdog and thinks he goes around 150, so he is getting drafted in some best ball stuff. But man, if you're having a home draft, he might not even be off the board. But I love this kid. It's very clear all training camp that he's been running ahead of Jamison Crowder, and then to have that verified in the latest preseason action. He played all the first team snaps when Josh Allen was in. There was even a rumbling after the game that if something happened to one of the top two guys, he'd probably push outside and still have that clear-cut number one role with the team. And as a Pats fan, I saw very firsthand what this guy can do, unfortunately, against us last year. 11 catches, 125, and 1 TD. It seems every time he's been used, the only other start he's gotten with Josh Allen, 6 for 65 and 2 scores. He's had 29 or more fantasy points in both of his starts. So I really like the kid. Anytime he's been used, he seems to play well. All the training camp reports are just glowing on the guy. Cole Beasley had 108 targets and 77 receptions on average across his 3 years in Buffalo. So you give me someone that's probably going to see 100 targets from Josh Allen towards the last round, I'm hammering it. I can't leave my drafts without it. Am I nuts, or what are your thoughts on McKenzie?
No, I'm with you, Wolf. I think a lot of people, and you mentioned the home league drafts, and man, like in the next 10 days, this is home league draft season. It
Love
feels
it.
like the vast majority of them are going to be going down in the next week plus. So I think a lot of the people who are just sort of reorienting themselves to fantasy football are going to think that this is Jamison Crowder's gig, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And we saw McKenzie pop whenever Beasley was out last year. So he's put up some big games. Like I do worry a little bit because I really like Khalil Shakir, their the fifth round pick, a guy who probably could have gone as early as day 2. But I guess apparently they're also playing Shakir outside some because they don't really have a great outside receiver to back up Diggs and Gabe Davis. So, yeah, man, I think McKenzie is going to be on the field a lot this year, and he's exciting, man. Like he's got some sizzle with the ball in his hands.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shakir, very intriguing too, especially dynasty wise. I really like him. He's shown very, very well this preseason so far, too. So definitely a name to highlight on there. Definitely in dynasty and even redraft could potentially come into his own because he's looked fantastic as well. It seems like Kenzie might be the number one there. But yeah, if an injury happens, nobody's going to put up, Diggs or Davis's number. But still, it's Josh Allen. It's this offense. Like, they'll be good stats. So it's one of those rare situations that a wide receiver handcuff is actually very vital. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.